There are a myriad of details when it comes to the Metzora that are so difficult to understand. You go through the Parsha and try and understand the depth, literally and figuratively, of the tzaras, of the different places, on the beged, on the garment, on the house, on the person. And it all becomes quite difficult to understand. But there's one point which seems to be consistent and yet very difficult to understand. But yet it seems like it's somehow extraordinarily fundamental to this entire process of tzaras, of the Metzora, and going through from being tamei to being tahar. And that is the role of the Kohen. The Torah makes it very, very clear that the person and the only person who is able to determine whether something is in fact nega tzaras, which is tamei, or whether it is tahar, is the Kohen. And you have to go to the Kohen. So Vrachina counted as a mitzvah saseh. It is a positive commandment to go to the Kohen to get that nega checked out. You have something. Not to go to the dermatologist, not to go to see if there's a mold on the home, but to go to the Kohen and have it checked out. And then the Kohen has to determine whether it's status, and it's only once those words are pronounced tamei. So much so that if there's a nega already exists on a person's bias, on the person's home, we tell the person, take everything out, because as soon as the Kohen declares that it is tamei, from then forward it is tamei. We don't say retroactively that it is tamei. That's the power of the words of the Kohen. And why is it that the Kohen has that role here specifically more than when it comes to any other area of halacha? Usually when it comes to halacha, it has to do with knowledge. It has to do with understanding how to paskin a shaila, how to paskin the question. And here it has to do with the Kohen. And it's worse. It's worse because the Mishnayos and Chazal are clear that even if the Kohen does not know what he's talking about, if you have a Kohen who's on Amaret, you have a Kohen who's an ignoramus. He doesn't know how to paskin this question. He doesn't know whether this is tzaras or not. Then we bring in a baki, we bring in an expert, we bring in a Talmud Chacham, somebody who can analyze and determine, what is that? What is its status? And if he determines that it is tamei, it is not tamei until he tells the Kohen, and the Kohen utters that word tamei. Or it says that it has to go through the process of being contained and waiting a few more days to see what happens. So the knowledge itself is not coming from the Kohen, but that word tamei has to come from the Kohen. What's the significance of the role of the Kohen in uttering that word tamei, even if it's not coming from his own knowledge, that is so central to the Tazria-Metzora? And perhaps the explanation is that Chazal are very clear that the punishment of tzaras, in the order in which it comes, which Chazal tells us, is at first it goes on to the person's house, then the person's garment, and then on to closest to home, onto the person, him or herself. It's not the order of the psukim, but that's the way Chazal understood it. Why is this coming upon the person? So the Mefarshim, the Ramban, goes into great length in explaining that we're talking here about a spiritual and not a physical malady. It is coming because of the sins that the person did, and specifically when it comes to Lashon Hara. The person who speaks negatively, disparagingly of other people, that's the person who's going to be punished with tzaras. In fact, the Mefarshim point out that the process of tahara includes different aspects of reminding the person that you have to act appropriately, you have to speak appropriately. We bring the birds that are mefatbeit, the birds that chirp a bit too much, to remind the person, be careful how you use your words. And maybe that's the role uniquely in the message of the Kohen as well. See, the Kohen, as being from the Zerah, as being from the descendants of Aaron, has the task of being the Ohev Shalom and the Rodev Shalom. The Kohen is the person who's supposed to unite the nation around the Beis HaMikdash, around the spiritual. It's the Kohen specifically who is the one that, for the person who needs to learn the lesson that he created a pirud, he created disunity and discord amongst people, the Kohen reminds him that you have to figure out how to fix this. You have to figure out how to fix it. And the way that you do it is by understanding the power of a word. That is why it's the Kohen's word that is so essential. Even if it's not coming from the knowledge of the Kohen, it's coming from the Talmud Chacham who gives over the information to the Kohen. The Kohen's word is so essential because it teaches us the power of even that single word. When he says tamei, that is it. And that's the lesson for the Metzora, and perhaps the lesson for us as well. Our words can hurt or our words can heal. And it could sometimes be just one word. Every word we say is powerful. Every word is significant. And how we use those words, are we going to use those words to build up others? Are we going to be quiet? We're going to shut our mouths? When I want to say, you know what? How is it going to make the other person feel? What's going to happen if I send that one word text, that reaction? What is going to happen? That perhaps what the Torah is trying to highlight with the role of the Kohein and the role of his utterances when it comes to the Metzora, that our words have so much power. And it's our task and our job and our responsibility to use those words to build, to use those words to heal, and never, chas v'shalom, to hurt anybody else.